We want to say thank you for listening. So our sponsors have given some great deals in this episode. Check these out. This episode of the Real ResQ podcast is brought to you by Breeze Eastern, the world's only dedicated helicopter hoist and winch provider. Axness, because when lives are at stake and conditions are challenging, clear communication is of the utmost importance. And SR3 Rescue Concepts, because you don't know what you don't know. Breeze Eastern, they dedicate themselves to our helicopter rescue world. Since the very first helicopter rescue in November of 1945, Breeze Eastern has designed and manufactured superior rescue hoist solutions. While much of the technology and the unique mission requirements have changed over the past 75 years, their commitment to the rescuers, the operators, and those being rescued has not. Contact them today by visiting them at breeze-eastern.com. The Axness PNG wireless ICS system can bring cutting-edge wireless intercommunication system technology to any aircraft. The PNG system can be fully integrated into an existing ICS system or can be carried on and off as a mobile base station. They can go anywhere at any time on any aircraft. Plus, with the strongest and most robust waterproofed handheld on the market, this system can take a hit and keep working. Their wireless intercom systems are designed to enhance situational awareness through improved communication capability. This system brings superior noise canceling technology to eliminate rotor wash and engine noise from your ICS. The Axness PNG wireless system is currently deployed in more than 1,800 public safety, air ambulance, and search and rescue aircrafts worldwide. I have personally used the Axness system in 4 different countries and on 5 different airframes. It is awesome. If you want more information, contact them today at axness.com. That's AXNES.com. You just make sure you tell them Quinny sent me. And SR3 Rescue Concepts is a training company that can help with your helicopter training, a standardization and safety check, or maybe just an audit or an FAA refresher. They are here to bring your agency up to date with the most current techniques, rules, regulations, and equipment. The training staff is awesome. With a certified flight instructor pilots, experienced crew members, which I am happy to say that I am one of them, they offer training in rescue, medical, tactical, firefighting, ground operations, and night vision goggle use. SR3 is also partnered with Petzl to assist with personal protective equipment and the highly specific Lazard. SR3 also goes beyond the helicopter world as they provide high-angle rescue training and tactical medicine training. Contact them today at sr3rescueconcepts.com or over on Instagram at sr3_rescue. Up next, we've got a guy from Vancouver, Canada, representing North Shore Rescue. In his 20 years of doing search and rescue, he has got some incredible stories. We merely just scratched the surface. So I hope you enjoy these next stories from our guest, Mr. John Blown. My name is Jason Quinn. I am United States Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer number 500. These are my rescues and rescues from those of us that put our lives on the line every day so others may live. This is the Real ResQ podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real ResQ. I've got a guest from Canada, right down the road from Mr. Rob Monday, because for those that listen to this, Rob Monday was on here not too long ago. What's up, Rob? Anyway, but this is Mr. John Blown, and he works with Talon Helicopters as a rescue team member. Is that? Oh no, you're the air ops coordinator. Oh, that's for the North Slope Rescue. Wait a minute. Yeah, you've got like 10 jobs, but like, okay, all right.
Too many jobs. Yeah. Hoist operator with Talon Helicopters and air operations coordinator with North Shore Rescue.
That's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. All good.
Well, you know what? Thank you, John. I appreciate you, man. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll tell you what, because you've already started, keep going with a little introduction. Tell everybody a little background about you, who you are, and like how you got into some of this SAR stuff, because this is a little bit of volunteer.
Yeah, for sure. First I want to say thanks, Jason, for doing this podcast. Discovered it a few months ago, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's been great listening to all the other stories of the people in the SAR world, and really just I've actually learned quite a bit as well. So I just want to say thanks for doing this. It's been great. So
did we just become awesome. Best friends? I'm just saying.
I think so.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
They're not my stories. I'm happy to be the platform to give everybody the ear. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. And also, I was just honored to be on here. I know there's some pretty awesome guys that have come on here doing some pretty cool stuff. So it's I just appreciate the opportunity to be on here. So thanks. So
anytime.
In terms of myself, I started doing SAR about 20 years ago with North Shore ResQ. So North Shore ResQ is a volunteer search and rescue team in Vancouver, British Columbia. And last year we did 227 rescues, and 41 of those were Class D, so either long line or short haul and hoist. So we did a lot of rescues last year, and
227.
Yeah.
Just last year.
Yeah.
Dang.
Last year was a record year for us. But it was busy. So as I said, I think I did last summer, July, August, I think I did 50 rescues.
We do not have enough time to go through 50 rescues, brother. I'm intrigued. I would love to hear all 50, but for everybody else out there.
It was intense. Thankfully, this year is a little bit slower. So I don't know what was going on last year, but it was nuts.
Are you kidding me? Everybody was so sick of being stuck inside because of COVID. Now you can go outside.
Exactly. I've been on the rescue team for 20 years, and I'm one of our air operations coordinators. So anytime we use an air asset or a helicopter, or we're doing a Class D fixed line or hoist rescue, I act in a command function to help run the call in that capacity. And then two years ago, we started doing hoist training with Talon Helicopters, and then I got trained up as a hoist operator with Talon Helicopters. So I sort of take on two roles now. So one is the hoist operator working with Talon, and another is a volunteer SAR member with North Shore ResQ.
Sweet.
And
now,
then
yep. Go ahead.
Or sorry, I can't say. I've got two young sons. So I got a 15-month-old baby and a 4-year-old at home. Ooh. So life is busy for me right now. That's for sure.
I think so. I remember those days at one point, right, girls? My daughters are like, no, I don't remember any of that. Yeah.
No,
well, I do.
No, no kidding. And then in terms of our training for North Shore ResQ, we have training in avalanche rescue, rope rescue, swift water, and then obviously air ops as well. And then we have special teams within our North Shore ResQ. So we'll have an avalanche team, rope rescue team, medical team, and obviously there's a lot of crossover. And so depending on the rescue, we'll pull people in from those special teams.
Wow. Now, how do you get on the list to be on a team?
Training and certification. So you can, if you want to be on the rope rescue team, then you got to go through all the rope rescue courses, and then there's obviously the exams, and you get different levels of certifications for what you're allowed to do with the rope rescue. And then the same with avalanche work, and there's different levels of avalanche response different courses that you can take. And then with the air op stuff, I've been doing short haul for about 13 years. So that's mostly what I do now is the air operations coordinator. So running the calls, and then also being on the long line and being a hoist operator. I've yet to be a downside tech on an actual call, usually because I'm the hoist operator on calls for hoist calls.
But you can do both. You can ride the hook, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Qualified to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. So my goal is in the next few months is to be downside on a actual hoist call. So I yet to do it.
You know what? I'm pulling for you as well. All right. I hope that happens as well. Stick a GoPro on. I just want to see the footage. Okay.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I mean, I love doing both. So when we're doing fixed line or short haul, then I'm obviously on the line. So I love running the hoist and also being on the line. So I want to be able to do both still.
That's awesome. Out of curiosity, do you have like a regular normal person job or?
I do. Yeah. So I've been running, I have my own advertising agency that I've been running for over 20 years as well. So thankfully, my business partner is very understanding, and so it's never been an impediment to being able to go out and calls and that sort of thing. So that's one thing of being on the rescue team. Having a flexible job is very important for sure. But the reality is most of our calls come in the afternoon, evenings, and on the weekends. Most calls come in then, so it doesn't affect my regular work that much, though. Although I joke sometimes. Last summer, for example, I think I know I spent more time doing North Shore Rescue and working with Talon than I did my regular job. So
I won't tell him if you won't.
Yeah.
Dang, all right, man, that's awesome. Well, with all this time, you said 20 years of doing this. Do you remember your very first rescue?
I do, yeah. So, yeah, this was a bit of a crazy one. So, we were actually up that day doing some training up in Squamish, which is just a town just north of Vancouver, doing crevasse rescue training. And on our drive back down to Vancouver, we got a call from our neighboring SAR team, Lions Bay Search and Rescue. So we go and assist other search and rescue teams around the area all the time, and other teams help us out, and we help them out. So they gave us a call because they had a rescue on a mountain called Mount Harvey. So there were a male, female hiker gone hiking, and they hadn't come home. Were reported missing, and they needed some help searching. So we diverted, and after being out in training all day, started climbing up Mount Harvey. And
how big is this mountain?
So the mountains around Vancouver are not particularly high. They can be anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 feet. But because we're so far north, it's always cold. I mean, even right now, beginning of June, there's there's probably 5 or 6 feet of snow still in the mountains. It can snow up there any time of the year. So and the terrain is steep as well. So there's off of Mount Harvey, there's basically 1,000-foot vertical cliff off of one side of the mountain. So it is, even though the mountains aren't that high, it is serious terrain for sure.
Okay.
So
you guys aren't messing around when you get called out for something like that and you're going up to hike out or find some hikers that are lost. It's like, oh, they're not local, they're not lost on this little easy trail.
No, these guys were lost in some vertical terrain. Somehow. So yeah, we were climbing. It was middle. Yeah, this time I think it ended up. I don't know. It was 10, 11 at night. So dark, and one of the search teams a little bit ahead of us had heard some calls above them. So the search team started to kind of focus in on this area on Mount Harvey, which is on the 1,000-foot face of the mountain. And so we started climbing up, and there were a couple people ahead of us climbing, and I was climbing up with my Stan, one of the other guys on the team, and we were hearing this like hissing sounds going by us. We were like, what is that? And then we hear this bang, huge bit, and we're like, we're like, those are rocks coming down around us. So some of the teams ahead of us were knocking rocks down, and we can't see them coming down
because it's 11 o'clock at night and you're trying to climb up a damn mountain.
Yeah, so it's dark. Obviously we have our helmets on, but I mean, if one of those rocks hits you, doesn't matter what you're wearing. So we would hear the hissing sounds, and then we would get as close to the rock as possible, just and listen to them whizzing by us. So we got on the radio real fast and asked for the teams above us to be a little bit more careful as they're climbing up the rock there.
I'm sure it was nice and polite as well. Hey guys, do you mind just watching your step? You're knocking a couple of rocks down. That's exactly how it went, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There were no. No, we were totally polite. No swear words.
Well, of course not.
No. Yeah.
No. Gotta work together.
So,
can't have that.
Yeah, exactly. We kept climbing up, and they were doing their best, but we still had some rock fall around us, and eventually made it up. I think around around 1 a.m. we made it up to the subjects, and there was the male subject had kind of made it into a steep gully filled with loose rocks, which is one of the other reasons rocks were coming down. They're one of the subjects was standing in a very, very steep gully above us, and then above him was, I don't know if it was his girlfriend, but the female was probably 40-50 feet above him, actually on a vertical rock face, just stuck on a ledge. So we climbed up and set up a rope system to get the male across the gully into a little bit more of a less vertical section of the hill. And then one of our members basically just free climbed above the female and with a rope, and was able to set up an anchor point for her just above her, and was able to lower her down into the gully. And then we used our rope system to get her across into a little bit more of a more safe area. And then so once we had them into that area, we were contemplating about how to get them off the mountain. It would have required a significant amount of rope rescue and lowering our subjects. So we're chatting with command, and basically decided that the safest way to get them and us off the mountain was a short haul in the morning. So basically just laid down in the dirt for a few hours, and waited till the sun came up, and we all got short hauled off in the morning back down into Lions Bay. So that was one of my first rescues that I did. And after I did that rescue, I was like, man, that was awesome. I want to do that again.
And he's got the bug. Oh yeah. It's kind of blowing me away, the fact you are you're setting up entire rope systems at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, pitch black with headlamps.
Yeah, wow. Absolutely.
And trusting it. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, being further north too, I mean, in the winter, the sun comes up at, 9, goes down at 4. So right. we do a lot of rescues at night for sure. So yeah, we're used to operating in the dark. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. John, that's crazy. Welcome. Introduction to search and rescue. Yes, please.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was fun. I was like, yeah, this is why I signed up for this. This is great. So, and the short haul out of there too was awesome. I was like, I definitely want to do more of this. So it was about 6 or 7 years later that I actually got onto the short haul team.
Oh, that's phenomenal. With your short haul team, do you remember the helicopter they were using by chance?
Yeah, so we use A-Stars.
Oh, nice. Now, and I'm going to go a little deeper, because we actually just had on a guy from Onboard Systems that's talking about cargo hooks. But do you guys have 2 cargo hooks currently, or was it a cargo hook and a belly band?
Yeah, so when we first started doing short haul. So North Shore Rescue, I think, was the first team in BC to start doing short haul. And the manufacturer of the equipment was on the team. So he basically developed the system through a need that North Shore Rescue had. And that was a merge go, and it used a belly band.
Okay.
And then a number of years ago, one of our members on our team saw there was an opportunity to move away from the belly band and do a double hook system. So he started up Boost, so that uses a double hook system for our short haul. So that's what we use now is Boost. But there are still teams in the province who use Emerge Go or Boost. Those are the two systems that people use in BC.
Love it.
Obviously, yeah. So the double hook system allows you to not have a spotter in the aircraft, and then obviously allows the pilot to release the line
right
easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Punch one, punch two, release. Yeah. No, awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. All right, my
Exactly.
man. Well, let's get into the next one, because you, like said, 50. All right, I'll take your top. Let's say 8. All right. you had 50 just last year, and we're like, that first one was, you said you've been doing this for 20 years. So, let's go to number 2.
Sounds good. Yeah. One of the cool things with North Shore, we have a shortage of calls, and you can rack up a lot of experience within a few years. It's a fun team, but it can also be challenging on your personal relationships for sure. All the partners on North Shore Rescue, I think, have a love-hate relationship with the team.
Unless they're in it, and then once they're in it, you're like,
totally.
oh, then you just go together. It's couples therapy. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I work out with my wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's one of the second ones. I think it was one of my first. Unfortunately, we do body recoveries fairly regularly, and this was one of my first ones. So it was our team leader up until 2014. Tim Jones was our team leader. I called him the mad genius of search and rescue. He was a character for sure. He was awesome and taught me all about search and rescue. And he was a great mentor to have. But he was also a total maniac. He was awesome. So I did a call with him, one of my first body recoveries, and so there's a place called Norvan Falls in North Vancouver, and it's basically a creek with a waterfall, and there's a big pool up top, and some people like to swim in that pool, and unfortunately sometimes people get pulled over the falls, and it's non-survivable fall. So we got it was during the spring, we got long lined in, and we found the body at the base of the falls, and I think Tim was wearing a dry suit. I just had my regular like hiking clothes on, and Tim was like, all right, let's get the guy out, let's go in the water, let's do this. And I was like, all right. So the creek was raging because it was spring. So as soon as I walk in, it's like 1-2 degree water. I'm instantly frozen and just covered in freezing water. And we managed to pull this guy out, and I instantly got hypothermia. So I'm shaking, pulling this guy out of the water. We end up long lining him back out. And after that call, I couldn't stop shaking. I was just like, got so cold. And I think I spent 2-3 days in bed after recovering, because I was just frozen, became a popsicle. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to do that again. I might, I'll take a dry suit with me again if that happens. But you didn't say no to Tim. When Tim told you to do something, you did it. No questions asked.
Oh
yeah,
that's terrible for the victim and hilarious for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was my introduction into body recoveries, and Yeah,
Yeah.
with Tim. So he was he was a fun leader. He had a good sense of humor. But yeah, there was no, when Tim told you to do something, yeah, you did it.
Suck it up, Buttercup. You'll
Like,
survive.
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Tim was he was an ALS paramedic, and he was our team leader for many years. And then yeah, unfortunately, died of a heart attack on Mount Seymour, actually, when he was coming down from a North Shore rescue event. So
Oh, wow.
unfortunately,
Oh, that's too
yeah,
bad.
he yeah, he was with one of our team members and his daughter, and basically had a heart attack on the trail. So that was a tough day for sure for everyone.
Bummer, man. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Wow. Um, well, you know what? As long as you got a chance to learn a lot or as much as you could from him,
yeah.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, he's still. I mean, it's been yeah, how many, 8 years, and yeah, Tim's still present in our minds, and we still think about the lessons that he taught us for sure. So yeah,
Love it. Awesome.
he lives on in North Shore Rescue. And actually, there's a mountain in North Van that was named after him. So now there's Tim Jones Peak. So
No kidding. Oh, that's
yeah,
killer.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
In Vancouver and in North Van, yeah, I mean, the mountain community is huge, and so Tim was he was like a celebrity in Vancouver and the North Shore. And we actually had when he passed away, we had a parade for him with thousands of people attending, military, all first responders. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, so he was a very well respected guy in the community.
Love it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, yeah, that's a good way to be remembered. Get a
Yeah.
mountain named
Sorry.
after you. That's,
Yeah, no kidding.
when you think about that, what do you have to do to get a mountain named after you? Like, that's pretty good. Well done, Tim.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Tim did thousands of rescues and saved many people. He was very, very dedicated. So
That's awesome.
sorry, I
Love to hear
got
it.
sidetracked there.
That's okay. That's okay. You know what? I'll tell you what. We'll move on to the next one because this
Yeah.
next one, which was kind of cool, you've actually earned yourself an award with this, and I get to read the letter, which I'm going to read here in a second. But I don't know anything about this award, so I'm really excited to hear more about it. But I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So let me get into this right now, and then I'm looking forward to not only hearing more about this specific medal, but the story behind it as well. So here we go.
Sounds good.
Dear John, for over 60 years, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has served as Canada's head of state with grace, dignity, and remarkable selflessness. Her lifetime of devotion continues to exemplify what it means to act not for oneself, but for the service of others. With these values in mind, the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal was created to celebrate Her Majesty's 60 years of devoted service as the Queen of Canada. In keeping with this theme of service, the Diamond Jubilee Medal is an opportunity to honor thousands of Canadians across our great country for their achievements and unique contributions to Canada. In this regard, with your own record of service in mind, I am very pleased to formally nominate you to receive the Diamond Jubilee Medal. I would be pleased to present this medal to you in person at a mutually convened time. Once again, please accept my congratulations on this well-deserved honor. Sincerely, the Prime Minister of Canada, Mr. Stephen Harper. What? Come on, John. That's awesome. All right, man. First of all, what is the Jubilee Medal?
Yeah, so that's given out to people for basically service to Canada. So myself and a number of other teammates who are on this rescue were presented with a medal for our service, which is awesome. So we had a little medal presentation ceremony and got awarded the medal for the work that we did on this rescue. So yeah, we were stoked.
Did you know it was coming?
Well, we got the letter. I actually didn't know the letter was coming, so we got it, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, we never, as you know, you don't do this for the awards, or you just kind of we just love what we do. So but yeah, always nice to get a little bit of recognition as well. So yeah, it was great.
All right, so
Yeah.
what's the story, man? Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah. So we were out searching. There was for a missing snowboarder up on Cypress Mountain, which is one of the local ski mountains, and we'd been searching for a few days. And the reality is here with the weather, and if you're out in your just regular downhill ski or snowboard attire, most people after a night out they're not doing too well. 2 nights out, there's only been, in my 20 years, a few people who've survived 2 nights out, and we've never had anyone survive three nights out. It's just, you just get too cold, wet, hypothermic, and it's not a good thing. So we know when we're searching for people in the winter that we got to find people within a certain time frame. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad outcome for our subjects. So we were out. I think it was our second. I think it was the second 2 days out. So this person the snowboarder had already been out 2 nights, and so we were thinking, okay, this is it. This is our day to find this guy. If we don't, then the chances of survival drop significantly. So the weather had been bad. The day before I'd been out, and the snow conditions were so bad that as soon as you go off the runs or off a trail, even with snowshoes on, we ran into hollow snow situations. So something that should take, there was a section of trail that we walked out on, and our search assignment was we were going to drop down off trail and search back to see if we could find any tracks. Took us, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour to walk out. Took us 9 hours to get back. It just unbelievably terrible conditions. Just every step, you're falling through the snow up to your waist, having to crawl out every step. So it was brutal. So that was I think, so we're going into, that was a previous search assignment. The next day I come out in the morning, start searching, and the weather hadn't been very good, so we haven't really been able to do much searching from the air. For a brief moment during that day, we got a little bit of rising clouds, so the machine was able to get up to some areas that it hadn't been, and from the helicopter they spotted some tracks quite a ways away it was on a different mountain than we were searching.
No.
So no one had ever made it that far. So this guy was in great shape and somehow managed to make it to another mountain, and so he was just traversing over trying to find the ski hill, and he thought he was heading back to the parking lot to the ski hill, but obviously he was not. And so Tim was in the helicopter, and he got on the radio. He's like, all right, John, where are you? John. And I'm like, oh, I'm this section of the mountain. He's like, okay, coming to get you. So came in, picked me up in the machine. We fly down, rig for a long line, and fly in just to where the tracks are, because we knew that it was, at that point, it was afternoon. The sun, sunsets at 4, so we don't have much time to fly. So we're like, okay, we got to get into these tracks and find this guy quickly if he's got a chance of survival. He's been out for 2 nights. So we get it inserted in the long line and start following these tracks down, and it's going down and down and down. It's myself, Tim, and 2 other North Shore Rescue members, and so this guy, I guess he just started snowboarding down, thinking he could get out that way. On the North Shore, the mountains kind of, as you get lower down, because they are all glaciated, so glaciers came through and they took out, they kind of sheared off some of the bottom parts of the mountain, so that a lot of the mountains actually get steeper as you go down, and most of the gullies end in waterfalls. So going down on the North Shore doesn't help you, unfortunately, most of the time.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so we're going down, and then eventually the snow, we get into an area with no snow, and by this time it's dark, and so we're getting into vertical terrain, and we're like, okay, we're gonna keep going. So we started rappelling down different sections, and one of the sketchiest things for when we're searching at night is, it's dark. We throw a rope off into the darkness, and we're like, we don't know what's down there, but you wrap down, and just hopefully you're going to find another wrap station below you, or somewhere you can stand to set up another station. We do have the ability to ascend a rope. We've got, with prussics and that sort of thing, but it's a pain.
Yeah.
So if you've ever done it, it's hard work. So we started wrapping down this terrain, and eventually we get to a waterfall, and we're calling out the whole time, and over the sound of the water, so we hear this. We were like, oh, I think we hear someone. We're calling out. We're like, oh my. We're like, wow, I think that's where we hear someone calling out, and so we're surprised that this person is still able to call out. So we set up a rappel station, and rappel down through the waterfall, into the base of the waterfall. Probably it was a full rope, single rope length. So
through a waterfall.
Through about 100 feet down. Get down to the base of it, and the snowboarder is there standing up, and we're like, you're still alive? He's like, we're like, we can't believe it. He's like, neither can I. So
oh my gosh.
We're like, you were like, you survived 3 days out here, 2 nights. We're like, that's unbelievable. And we're like, how did you get down here? Like, we were rappelling. And he was like, I honestly have no idea. He's like, just managed to get down, falling, and somehow didn't kill himself falling down, sliding down the and especially the waterfall. We're like, this doesn't make any sense how you got to the bottom of this and you're still standing up. Like, this is unbelievable.
What?
So I mean he was injured for sure, but the fact that he was able to stand up was unbelievable. So we're standing at the base of this waterfall, and we're like, man, this. And he was, he'd been out for 2 nights, 3 days. He was, on base. He was standing up, but barely. And so we're like, yeah, we're not gonna. We're in a gully surrounded by cliffs, and we're like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to get this guy out of here. He's hypothermic. Even though he seems he's okay, he's talking. He's been bashed up pretty bad, and we got to get him to a hospital pretty quickly. So Tim made it at night. Our only option is 442. They do hoisting at night. Are basically they're the military here in Canada, 442 squadron, and their mandate is generally just marine rescue and any aircraft crashes. But if we request assistance, they'll come help. So we called in 442, and they're flying the Cormorant helicopter. So the machine is massive.
Oh, that's a big helicopter, like really big.
It's a beast. 30,000 pounds. And so they come in, and they're, we're in a deep gully with 200-foot tall trees around the gully. So these guys, they had to lower the machine below the tree canopy in the gully, and they had the guys watching the tail and the rotors, making sure that they weren't going to come in contact with any of the trees, and it was just barely fit enough, and they could get just low enough. Talking to the Sartex after, they're like, yeah, we were at the maximum 280 feet of our cable. We couldn't go any lower, so that was it. Like, we almost couldn't do this rescue. So yeah, they're
280 feet. Like, that's maxed out. There's only 290 usable feet, depending on the hoist you're using, but
yeah. So yeah, it was and that thing was with that hovering above us, we were just getting flattened underneath it as the waterfall started going up instead of down. But so Sartek came down and was able to hoist us up in the horse collar up into the machine, and we were able to fly to the airport and get the snowboarder to the hospital. So he spent I think a week in hospital, and then I talked to him quite a bit after that actually, and we actually ended up going for a drink. Had a couple drinks together, but he said that he figures it probably took him 6 to 8 months before he was physically recovered from that. So it just, he had a lot of various injuries, and just the toll on his body. He said it was punishing for him. So, but he ended up being okay. So yeah, that was another fun rescue that had a good outcome. So we were not expecting him to be standing there at the bottom of the waterfall. So it was a good surprise.
Incredible, man. Incredible. Well done to you and your entire crew. That's awesome. I love the fact that you're rappelling through a waterfall like 100 feet down. Like, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Like, you see this stuff in Hollywood, like, that doesn't really happen. Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the subject's down there, you're like, we gotta get there. And these, people get themselves, as you know, get themselves into all sorts of crazy positions and situations. You're like, how the heck did you get into this? Like, man, we had a call a few years ago. Same thing. It was a waterfall. Guy climbed down part way, and then there was a log across the waterfall halfway down, and then managed to crawl out halfway across the log. So when the ground team arrived, they were looking and they're like, what the heck? They're like, you're halfway down a waterfall in the middle of a log. Like, how did you get there, and how are we going to get you out? So yeah, people always get themselves in the craziest situations, that's for sure.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, yeah. Man, keep us going, man. I am loving this. What else you got?
Sure. So yeah, I can talk about my first rescue as a hoist operator.
I like that. Yeah.
So yeah, with Talon, I said Talon Helicopters started training as a hoist operator. I guess it was a couple years ago. We brought up a crew to train us from San Diego, and then we spent about a year training as a hoist operator, and finally went operational about a year after training and getting in hundreds of hoists in. So we felt pretty confident that we could execute on the rescues. So
out of curiosity, was that your own training that before you guys went operational that you decided to do that, or that was some sort of regulation that you guys needed to follow in order to do that?
No, there were no regulations. It's not regulated. Basically, we know the kind of terrain and situations that we do our short haul out of. So we needed to be able to confidently hoist in and out of we do a lot of tall trees. So being able to hoist in and out of tall trees out of holes, and obscured hoisting, with trees covering, being able to hoist people off of bluffs, cliff bluffs, that sort of thing. Being able to hoist off of steep, snowy, icy terrain. So we basically we're going through all of those different possible scenarios and making sure that as hoist operators and as hoist downsides that we were comfortable in those situations that we knew we would be into when we started hoisting, because with our many years of short haul, we knew what we were getting ourselves into. So we trained to be able to do that confidently, and then we went operational.
That's awesome. I didn't mean to totally cut you off there. Just kind of curiosity, like going a whole year in a training before you go operational. That's kind of a long time, and at the same time, it's like perfect. Like you need that much good solid training to get that foundation.
So, and anyway, it's not like we were training nonstop. It was as everyone's got other jobs, we got to work it in with our schedule. So
Right.
it basically took us that long to kind of get enough training in that we felt confident. But it was a lot of training. So as I said, I think I did hundreds of hoists before we went operational.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. So there you are. Alarm goes off. Hoist operator. Da-da-da.
Yeah. So alarm goes off. Yeah. And so my wife at the time was 9 months pregnant. So the due date was coming up. Well, pretty much we're at the due date. And I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, there's a call over on Vancouver Island. So a mutual aid call. So we got to fly over quite a ways to get over there. And the weather wasn't great. And my wife's like, man, you better come back. Like, I'm gonna have this baby soon. So she was giving me the look like there's no going on this call and being stuck overnight. So I was like, no, I'm 100% confident. We're gonna fly over there. We're gonna be able to come back. I was not 100% confident, but
see, you lied to her.
and now she knows.
Oh my gosh. I won't tell her.
Yeah. Perfect. So I was like, no, we'll be all right. So run out the door. And so we fly over to Vancouver Island, and it's freezing, snowing, pretty heavy snow actually. We fly over there, and we were requested to assist with a team that had been searching for a woman who'd been out overnight. And they ended up finding her, and she was unable to walk after being out all night, hypothermic, and just needed to be evac'd out of there as quickly as possible. So we flew over there with one of our ER physicians. So on our team, we have a advanced medical group, and if we think that we'll need some more advanced medical, then we bring them with us, which is amazing. So great for us and great for the subjects, for the people that we rescue, to have that advanced medical there, being able to help out. So we flew over there, and obviously, my first rescue as a hoist operator, I was like, okay, yeah, just like training, let's do this. And I was like, I hope this isn't a complicated insertion, because I'm already a little bit nervous and thinking, okay, and we're helping out another team as well. So I'm like, yeah, this has gotta go smoothly. And so we fly over there and get to the subject location, and we're like, okay, they're in a reasonably open area, just some tall trees around, and they're in a flat spot. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty easy hoist. So I was like, all right, okay, this doesn't look too complicated, thankfully. So I was able to insert our doctor and one of our rescue techs into the location, and they packaged up the subject, and we hoisted her back in, and then flew back to the airport and transferred her to BC Ambulance. So it was a smooth rescue. It was actually a great one to do as our first rescue. So
awesome.
As you know, sometimes it's not that straightforward. And so I was happy. Nope. I was like, we got on scene. I was like, okay. I could do this. This is all right.
The adrenaline is like through the roof though, and you're like amped up. Oh, I get it. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we've done some much harder hoists into steep terrain, cliffs, steep ice, obscured 200-foot tall trees, bad weather. So thankfully now we've got some mileage under our belt, and they've done for the first few hoists were a little bit easier. So thankfully we eased ourselves into it. And the other option for us too is we just go back to fixed line as well. If we're like, hey, you know what, maybe this one might be a good fixed line call. And we actually had that conversation at the beginning of our hoist program. We still maintain our short haul program. And if there was a call that we thought might be a little bit more complex, we just went back to our short haul system, and until we felt confident enough to build up that experience for our hoisting. So we were able to go back and forth, and we still do, which is great.
Love it, man. That is fantastic. I love having the options. Like you never know. So to have the
Yeah,
options, beautiful.
yeah, yeah. And the short haul system can move 5 people at once, which is awesome. So, it's got each system's got advantages and disadvantages for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing like a spy rig with your 5 people? Like
Doing a
one
what? Sorry.
stack, a spy rig, so you have one
No,
over the next. No.
no, it's
So
it's a plate, and there's
oh,
5 connection points. So, and it's totally fine having 5 people connected in there. You might think it'd be a bit squishy, but yeah, no problem having 5 people attached to the plate. So
beautiful.
yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've seen the ones where they stack up, and I'm like, that looks more challenging.
It's yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the neck, but I mean it's not terrible. You're in
Yeah,
one long line and there's hand
right.
signals and feet signals and all that to everybody, and all of a sudden, all right, you're clear of everything. Let's keep rolling. So
Yeah,
nice.
cool.
All right, my man. Well, the other one that I think you and I had talked about a little bit is you've got a cargo plane that crashed in
Yeah,
North Vancouver. What is
yeah.
that?
Yeah, so yeah, we don't do plane crashes very often. That's generally the military area that they cover. But if we get a request from the military, then we'll go out and assist with plane crashes, and we'll go out and assist with searching as well. So in this case, though, the plane crashed, in our area, in a fairly popular actually hiking area that we do searches in pretty regularly. And it was snowing. And
Of course it was snowing. Why
so
wouldn't it be snowing? It's
yeah,
Canada. It's always snowing.
it's always snowing.
Two things
in the
about
winter,
Canada that we always know: snowing, and everybody loves ice hockey.
That's just, yeah. Unfortunately, those aren't just stereotypes. That's just true.
Oh, and you guys drink a lot of beer.
Yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, you gotta. It helps you stay warm.
That's right. Some of my best friends are Canadian, so I can say that.
I was 100%. It's the stereotypes are true for sure.
Oh, I love it. Anyway.
Yeah, we get called from again. So from 442, they're out of Comox on the Vancouver Island military search and rescue, and so they get called for a plane that had gone down kind of in the North Shore area. So we get teams out on the ground, and the cormorant had been searching around and hadn't been able to see anything from the air, which is not surprising. It was, not a huge plane, a cargo plane, and goes into 200-foot tall trees. Things just disappear. So there'd be no way you could spot it from the air. And so they wanted some boots on the ground to see if we could see anything. So as soon as our first team got into the area, they could smell the jet fuel. So they're like, "Yep, it's around here somewhere." So we started searching that area, and pretty quickly we were able to spot the wreckage on the ground. And it was a bit of a bizarre kind of scene. So we're on the side of a mountain. It's snowing. And then there's all this stuff still kind of floating around from the cargo plane, like all this random stuff. And then you'd be walking through the woods, and you'd find wedding invitations. You'd find find a shoe. You'd find these because there's all these random boxes, and you'd find bits of like metal. And one of the things I saw that I was like, wow, the force of this crash. It was the prop of the one of the props of the aircraft had just been curled up like a ribbon, and this thing's like thick steel. It just turned into. I was like, wow, the amount of force it would take to do that to a piece of metal is unbelievable. So we start searching around, and again, still snowing. So finding stuff is becoming increasingly difficult. Everything's starting to get covered in snow, and we'd found the first pilot was with the fuselage with the wreckage. So we found him fairly quickly. We're looking for the co-pilot, and the only way we could everything's starting to get covered. So we're just walking around with our ski poles, just poking everything. And I was poking something on the ground. I was like, oh, that doesn't feel like, rock or wood or ground, and brush the snow off. And yeah, it was the second pilot. So found him in the wreckage as well. So yeah, pretty obviously, yeah, that was a sad one. So we were wondering like what happened. If you looked at the profile, the plane took off, was kind of headed to head up over top of the mountains, and just suddenly took a nosedive straight into the mountain. And so we were curious about what happened with that crash. And eventually they came out with a report, and within the report, one of the pilots had a blood alcohol level that was, triple or even quadruple that of your driving limit. So
oh my gosh,
I was like, I don't even know how he walked to the plane, like let alone so they didn't determine that was the cause of the crash. I don't think, because the way that the plane flew, it almost seemed like some kind of mechanical failure, but that obviously would not have helped. So yeah, one of the pilots was quite intoxicated, unfortunately. So
oh man, yeah, that's not good.
No, yeah, definitely not. Yeah, when it came out with the blood alcohol level, I was like, man, I don't think I would be able to even walk. So
I know I wouldn't. Jeez.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, obviously a tragic end to that one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah,
Wow.
bit of a sad one. On the other hand, though, we were, for a while we weren't sure if we were going to be able to find the second pilot, just because of the snow, and sometimes we have to wait until the spring, until the snow melts to find people. And obviously sometimes, we've got a number of what we call cold cases, where we've never found the person. So that happens sometimes, unfortunately, as well. So I heard, you had a gentleman on an episode or two ago who had a cadaver dog. So he was talking a bit about
oh
that,
yeah, Dylan and Jacoby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an important role, because for us, one of the worst things is finding someone, a fatality, finding someone deceased, but the next worst thing is just never finding someone. So that's those kind of calls just haunt us forever. So yeah, it's an important thing.
Call Dylan and Jacoby.
Yeah,
They'll come
absolutely.
out. I don't know international rules with cadaver dogs, but I'm sure I got a guy. I know a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. Yeah, years ago, we did more cross-border assistance. So North Shore Rescue would head down over the border and help, and vice versa. But yeah, haven't done anything recently. But yeah, always willing to help out wherever needed. And I know, the SAR teams down south are same thing. So I'm sure.
Like in your conversation here, like with the two down pilots, it's what I don't think about too much right now is, and I really haven't had to think about it for quite some time, is it's snowing and people get buried in the snow, and it happens way more often than people think. You're like, oh yeah, no, it's no big deal. No, it is a big deal, because if they die early enough in the storm, you don't see them until spring or whenever. Yeah,
exactly.
That's wild. Yeah.
And
call Jacob. Call
Jacoby
and Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's important work. And whenever we do a search and it's snowing, it makes our job way harder. Obviously, finding tracks in the snow is way harder. So,
right.
We're usually not looking for the person. We're looking for some kind of sign or tracks. And then we can follow those tracks to where the person or skier or snowboarder is. But then if it's snowing, that removes, and snowing hard, it can cover tracks pretty quickly. So it makes it much harder to find people. And then if people are covered for whatever reason, are not moving for whatever reason, then they get covered up pretty quick, unfortunately.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, wild. Well, you had
So,
another one. Actually, this is one of your recent ones, one of your 50 that you had last year.
yeah.
So, and that was actually last January. You had a missing 21-year-old that they had kind of had a slip and fall. What was that all
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, this was a sad one, unfortunately as well. But so we got called out for missing 21-year-old female gone hiking up to an area called St. Mark's. She'd phoned her boyfriend in Ontario and said that she felt a little bit nervous about where she was and she was getting a little bit lost. And then I think the call dropped. So her boyfriend phoned RCMP here in BC and said that I think there's something going on. I think my girlfriend's lost. So RCMP tasked us out to start searching. That was in the late afternoon, evening. I think it was right before sunset. So teams went out at that night and searched the area, doing call outs up and down the trail, on the sides of the trail. And usually how we find people at night is we can just hear them calling out. So if you walk along the outsides of the ridges and you're calling down each gully, and if someone's in that gully, you can usually, sound travels pretty far at night. It's pretty quiet. You can hear people calling out. So that's generally how we find people. So we covered the trail and the mountain at night. We also had our NVG machine out searching at night as well.
What is your NVG machine?
So a few years ago, when we started hoisting, Talon purchased the AS365, which the Dolphin, which I'm sure you are very familiar with as well.
Very familiar with the Dolphin. Very much so.
And so that's the machine we use for hoisting. And then it was also outfitted for doing night flying as well. So that now allows us to search at night and move SAR members and equipment at night, which is amazing because we did not have that ability before.
So it's just like a FLIR on the front of the aircraft, or a FLIR ball on the nose of the aircraft?
Yeah, the pilots are wearing goggles, and then nice. In the back we're on NVGs as well, so we can we can search. Yeah,
right. I got you.
So it's for searching at night, it's it's unbelievable. As I'm sure if you any light source you can see from miles away. So
for anybody that's not using night vision goggles, fly at night, make a pitch to go get them. They are like the value that you get out of night vision goggles. And the only thing that I can compare it to is go drive your car without your lights on and see how far you get. Then turn your lights on. It's amazing. Only triple that because you have night vision goggles which illuminate everything.
It's unbelievable. When we first started doing the training, I put them on and we were up in the mountains. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's a game changer for searching and for and it's this another aside. When we did one of our first training flights in our area on the North Shore, we took off with Talon with our goggles on, and we were just doing some familiarization flights at night in the machine and testing out the tool. And about 3 minutes after we take off, we're flying in behind Mount Seymour, and there's a big waterfall there, and we see some lights in the middle of the waterfall. We're like, what the heck? We're like, you should not be there. We're like, that is not a hiking area. This is not a trail. So we flew over there, and we see there's two guys in the middle of this waterfall, like mostly frozen waterfall. And there's ice and rock, and they're kind of standing on some rock. And we're like, what is going on? So we lower a radio using a rope down to them out of the helicopter, get on the radio with them, and we're like, you guys okay? And they're like, no, we're lost. We're stuck on this waterfall.
Oh my gosh.
We're like, we're like, wow, okay, I guess 3 minutes after starting to use this tool, we find someone before they've even before they've been reported missing. We're like, yeah, this works.
Yep, NVGs are
So
amazing.
yeah, so we we get our team going, and about an hour later, their family phones in and they're like, yeah, our these two guys are missing, and we're like, yeah, we already found them. So like that's the first time we found people before they've been reported missing. So yeah, it's an awesome tool. Yeah.
Love it.
Sorry,
All right, we got diverted. Let's go back
diverted.
to
so our girl, so we had our NVG machine out, didn't find anything, so we I think we wrapped up probably 4 or 5 in the morning, head back out again in the morning, 7 a.m. We're back out there, and we start flying. I'm in the machine and start flying gullies. So people often end up in gullies, so we always just go back and forth below trails and fly the gullies, and we ended up spotting her in one of the gullies, and she wasn't moving. So from the air, we're like, okay, this is either she's seriously injured, not moving, or she's deceased. But either way, we got to get in there. So we were in the A-Star at the time, so went back to Cyprus, rigged for a short haul. And with me on the line, there was Kayla, who's an emergency room nurse, and then Dale, who's with the Vancouver Police Department. So we've got, that's one thing on the team. We've got volunteers from all sorts of different areas and some super skilled people on the team, which is awesome, and volunteer their time with Real ResQ, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
So we went in on the line. And yeah, we got on the ground, and Kayla did an assessment, and she was like, yeah, she's deceased, and has been for a while. But regardless, we packaged her up, and short hauled her out, and got her to a doctor to do an assessment back at our SAR station. And yeah, he confirmed the assessment. So unfortunately, she slipped higher up on the trail, and unfortunately, at that time, the snow just happened to be super hard. We get these freeze-thaw cycles, so basically it'll warm up, the snow will melt, and then it freezes and just turns into ice. And she had come off the trail and got into an area that was a little bit steeper. She was wearing microspikes. She had poles, doing all the right things, but just got into an area that was just too steep for her microspikes. It was an area that you need crampons and like ice axe. In those conditions, just because the ice was so hard, and slipped, and ended up falling probably 1,000 feet through the trees and down into the gully. And so by the time she reached the gully, she was deceased because she'd hit some trees on the way down, which is and unfortunately in our terrain, we run into that a fair amount. People slip in the snow, and they'll fall and hit a tree or two or many on the way down if they're unable to stop their fall. So it's unfortunately not an uncommon thing to happen with us. But so yeah, we they handed her off to the coroner. Obviously a super sad end to the search. That was a tough one for our team, for sure. We weren't expecting that. We thought that we would find her somewhere still alive, but that's how some of the searches go, unfortunately. And so that one was bothering me a bit, for sure, like obviously some of our searches do. And me and 2 other guys on the team went out a day or 2 later, and we're like, hey, we need to piece together what happened to this girl. So we went down and ended up rappelling down to the location where we found her body, and then we were able to see where she slid down through the trees and started climbing back up. We had crampons and ice axes, and we were able to basically find her backpack, find a bunch of her other belongings and that sort of thing. And and for me, I wanted to find out what had happened to her, and then as well for her family as well, so they
Yeah.
knew what exactly had happened, and the reasons for how she how she became deceased. And so we were able to piece it all together. We tracked our tracks on our GPS and marked out where we found everything, and put together basically a report on everything that happened, where she came off the trail, and I was, after that, I was able to speak with the family as well in Ontario, and just walk them through everything that happened. But yeah, it's
Wow.
tough. It's tough when for us, we do recoveries, and if you just hand the people off, the bodies off to the quarter, and walk away, try not to think about it too much. But sometimes we do interface with the families, and it makes it a lot tougher when we're chatting with them and talking to them about what happened and stuff. So again, at least we were able to find her, but yeah, definitely was not the outcome that we were looking for, and that was a bit of a tough one for sure for myself and for the team. But we do our best, and for me, if I was a family, I would want to know exactly what happened, and so we were able to at least provide that information to the family on that call.
Yeah. How are you doing now?
I'm okay. I think, like, yeah, it's funny. Last year we did a lot of body recoveries. It was a tough year, and these are, some of them were people who've fallen off of, or unfortunately, sometimes people jump off of cliffs, and they're falling a few hundred feet onto rocks, and these are pretty grisly recoveries. And so I did quite a few last summer, and it was definitely started to affect me a bit. So I chatted with a few people on the team, and chatted with my wife about it as well. I got to be careful. I don't want to cause her too much stress talking about some of these things.
Call me anytime. I truly mean it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You had a gentleman from Ireland who's on the team who's talking about critical incident stress and everything he does. So that one really, actually, I really enjoyed that one and really appreciated what he was doing, because myself and I know other people on the team and other people who do this sort of thing. You do it for a while, long enough, it can affect you for sure. So we got a great support network on the team, and I chatted with a few people, and but it's something that I thought about, over the winter for sure, all the recoveries we did, and but I was able to talk through it, and I'm doing okay now. So all good. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, I actually, I'll be honest with you and everybody else that's listening, is that I got a message not too long ago. Frank Breeze, who was on here just a little bit ago, he got a message from his crew chief in the helicopter for the guys that he had saved on there, and the message was really nice. And I don't want to expand too much, other than it really gave him a peace of mind knowing that they knew the only way they were going to get back to base is if the crew chief held that door closed, and the crew chief at the time didn't want to be there holding the door. He wanted to be helping the soldiers, and for him, it was that peace of mind, like, wow, I didn't know that. And for everybody else that doesn't realize, just talking a little bit about it helps. Might not help you specifically, but it might help that other guy or that other girl. So I'm all about it. So that's absolutely we could go down a full rabbit hole with this one, man. So
absolutely. But even just this podcast has helped me, just listening to other stories, and so many people going through the same thing. I think sometimes we operate in a little bit of a bubble, so it's pretty cool hearing all these other stories and all this things that people go through. And everyone goes through these. If you're in the SAR world, you go through these kinds of things, and it can be emotional, but it helps listening to other people as well. So that's another reason why I've loved this podcast as well. So it's been awesome.
If it makes you feel any better, that's the same reason I love it. I love hearing these stories.
That's awesome.
I really can't get enough of it. My wife is like, can you please stop talking about the podcast? I'm like, no, wait until you hear this. So it's been fun. But
my friend last summer, after rescue, she was like, don't you get sick of this? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I want more. I was like, I love doing rescues. It's awesome.
They're so fun. Again, not everything turns out the way we want it to, but
no.
It's like we're not cut from the same cloth as everybody else. It's just we're not.
Yeah.
Couple screws loose, it's okay.
yeah. You kind of have to. Yeah, you got to be a little bit
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, John. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Let's end on a little bit of a positive note, because I know you have one more that we can talk about, and then I'm gonna ask you one more question. But go ahead.
Yeah. So this is a call last year for a snowboarder who got caught in an avalanche. So he was
like literally caught in the avalanche.
He was caught in an avalanche. Yeah. So he was
dude.
He went down the back. He went out of bounds off the backside of Cypress Mountain, out of the ski resort. Pretty common area for people to go. You can go down the backside, and there is a route or sort of trail back into if you know where to stop back into the resort. You have to hike back in. Lots of people go down there and miss the route back in, and that's a big source of our rescues. In this case, it was a bad avalanche conditions that day, and so he actually had his cell phone, so he was able to call in, and so we were able to talk to him, and he sounded like he was okay on the phone, and so it just sounded like he's like, oh, I got caught in an avalanche, I'm lost. And so we're like, okay. When we finally he did have some head injuries, so we didn't know this at the time. So we were thinking this guy wasn't that injured. So we got ground teams moving in, and then we get up in the machine, and the initial coordinates off the 911 ping unfortunately weren't quite correct. So we were searching in an area where he was not, and it's starting to get later and later in the day. We're getting close to grounding time. Man, we gotta find this guy so we can short haul him out, and because we can't do short haul at night. We're working on being able to hoist at night right now, so that's something that we're working towards. But
nice.
We're right now we can't. So I know there's we're gonna run out of time if we need to short haul this guy out of here. So but we couldn't find him. So we're like, oh, I can't find him. Eventually we get some updated coordinates, and we're able to find him in a couloir on the just around the other side of the mountain, and he's sitting in a avalanche path on avalanche debris, just kind of sitting there with his hands on his knees looking at us, and we're like okay, he seems like he's okay, but he's in the middle of an avalanche path. But that was it. We're at grounding time, so we're like, okay, we gotta go land. So went and landed, and at that point we had some ground teams moving into his location. We had one of our professional avalanche forecasters, so he was a ski guide, and so he was leading a team into that area just because of the high avalanche danger. And him and the one other guy on our team, it was Tristan and Jim. They went in. Basically, they went into the avalanche path and just had to drag him out of it, because they were worried that they were going to get caught in an avalanche. So they weren't able to do any first aid or do any assessments. They were like, we just got to get this guy out of here. So went and dragged him out of the path, and they were able to get him into an area that was a bit safer. And we had our team doctor, Alec, come in and do an assessment. And so at this point, he he was semi-conscious. And the other funny thing, so I was in we'd landed in the helicopter, but I've been phoning the subject and I'd talked to him, and he kept pocket phoning me. So it was the weirdest thing. I kept getting phone calls from the subject from him, and I could hear Tristan and Jimmy like in the background, like talking to each other, and I could hear him, and I was like, I was like, this guy does not sound good. So I was getting random pocket calls from him, and Alec, our doctor, got on scene, and he was like, "Oh man, like this guy's in rough shape, rough shape. We got to get at it. We got to get him out now." So we looked at bringing in 442, but they were about a 2-hour delay, and Alex like, it wasn't. We figured we could get him out to the ski hill in less than 2 hours in the stretcher. So the ground team was able to pull him in the sled and the stretcher back into using rope rescue systems again, ropes, pull him back into the ski hill at night. And yeah, by the time they got him back there, his body temp was low. He was quite hypothermic. Yeah, I think he's 86 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 Celsius,
gosh.
like getting and dropping. So they got him to the ER, and yeah, they did some scans, and basically, yeah, he had a pretty bad head injury. He had both his legs were broken ribs. He was multi trauma, and so they did the scan, and they were like, "Holy cow!" They were like, "What?" So the fact that they were able to save him, and after, I think he was in hospital for quite a while, he's able to go, but he's relatively, from what I know, he's messaged us since then and let us know that he's out and doing fairly well. But we're like, what the heck? We're like, you must have been in not just one but multiple avalanches, because I don't know how this happens. Like it was bad. But that was a good one, and that we were able to get him out, and he's okay. So yeah, that one worked out all right.
Man, I like that.
Good. Yeah.
We'll call that a save.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang,
Exactly.
man. John, these stories are freaking amazing. Thank you. I'll tell you what, before I let you go, I am going to throw out like a very general question, but the floor is open to you. If you had anything to pass on to anybody else with your 20 years of doing this, 50 cases just last year, man, what advice would you give everybody?
Well, yeah, I want to give a shout out to, in BC, there's 3,000 SAR volunteers, and we do about 2,000 calls a year. So
what you're saying is I have content for this podcast for like the next couple of years. Just from you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think BC, our province, does more SAR cases just in BC than the rest of Canada combined. So just because of the topography, we're just all mountains up here, and everyone's comes here to do all outdoor recreation. So it's and it's all mostly done by SAR volunteers across BC and across Canada as well. So I just want to give a shout out to all the other SAR volunteers and in the US as well. So support your local SAR team. You never know when you might need them. So yeah.
Love it.
And another thing I also have to say, I want thank you to my wife for allowing me to do this. So when I rush off to do rescue, she's at home holding down the fort with the kids, and without her and without whether, if you do this job in any capacity, having a supporting partner is essential. There was a call this last winter where, again, bad avalanche conditions. There was an avalanche fatality that day, and we were getting called out at night to go fly in the Dolphin to assist with a rescue of a snowmobiler who had broken his leg in avalanche terrain. We weren't sure if he'd been in an avalanche or what. And so I'm getting ready to leave, and my wife's, she brings over our baby, and she's like, "Look at your baby and tell him you're coming home." And I'm like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I promise. She's like, "Promise." I'm like, "I do." So, because she doesn't like hearing that we're heading out, going flying at night in mountainous terrain, and going to be dropped off in avalanche terrain to go assist people. So, yeah, I just want to say thanks to my wife and to all the partners out there that allow us.
What's your wife's first name?
Michelle.
Michelle, don't worry, it's all good. I don't think that helped at all. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I'll ask her after she listens. Like, did that help?
Okay.
I'm sure I'll just get a look. I'll get the look. No.
Sorry, honey. Oh, I love it. Awesome. You know what, John? I'll tell you what, man. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for sharing some of these stories. If you want to share another 50, man, come on. I'll have you back. I would love to have you back. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
What we'll do is we'll set something up so when the Boston Bruins are in town, call me.
Absolutely. Oh, it's on.
There might be a little gambling on that game.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dude, we'll keep in touch, man. I look forward to hanging out with you. And now when I come up to see Rob, I'm going to give you a call. So,
yeah, that'd be great. I would love that.
Right on. All right, brother. I'll check you later. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Go. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Real ResQ podcast. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. I'm pulling chocks and taking off. But before I go, if anyone out there has a rescue story they would be willing to share, I would be humbled and honored to have you on as a guest. Or if you have any questions about rescue or anything else we talk about here, send an email to jason@therealresq.com. That's Jason at TheRealResQ.com. You can also check us out on our web pages, therealresq.com, our Facebook page, and our Instagram page @TheRealResQ. Again, a special thank you to all of you staying on the watch today. Always remember, when that SAR alarm goes off, those in distress are praying for a miracle. They are going to get you. Until next time, fly safe and swim hard.